Welcome.
Hold on. Are you in my seat?
No, I'm in my seat.
Oh, thank you for pulling my chair in.
Oh. I don't know what kind of thank you that was, but welcome to the Josh and Xavier show. My name is Josh.
I'm Xavier.
And let's get ready to speak about the Bird Box.
Yeah, I was born with this name, and I haven't changed it, and I don't think I ever will.
I'm going to name my child Xavier. Probably not, but it will be dope.
Had my hopes up there for a second.
And maybe.
Don't name your kid Xavier.
Don't.
Don't.
There's only one. Only one good one. You're the only one.
Okay.
You're the only one I want to know, okay?
Okay.
Hey, if your name's Xavier out there for real, just exit out this window and leave. Don't watch this anymore. Unless you're him. Because we don't want any of that fake-ish. There's only one. So, we want authenticity and...
We would say that about Josh, but then that might be a third of our viewers.
There's so many people with my name. It's unfortunate. But also awesome.
Stay with us.
Stay with us. Be with us. Be one. Even if your name is Xavier.
Yeah, there's no judgment. Like we said, this is the no judgment zone.
Mm-hmm. In Jay-Z. Like Kanye West.
You're in Jay-Z?
In Jay-Z, no judgment zone. Heard it here first. Kanye West. Yep. Somebody. Mm-hmm.
He's worth a lot of money. How does it feel to be inside of him?
Paper cuts. Paper cuts.
In Jay-Z.
In Jay-Z.
Today we are going to talk about, in this podcast, this video, whatever platform you're listening, watching us on, we're going to talk about the Bird Box.
The Bird Box.
The rave of the Bird Box. People are going crazy, running around their yards with...
Birds, man.
Naturally birds.
In a box.
Naturally birds, but they're putting on blindfolds and blankets over their heads and just running around, riding bikes, doing the Bird Box Challenge.
Bird Box Challenge? Is that a thing? Like, people are doing this?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I thought that was what you were thinking.
I mean, people, like, I know they're making memes, but, like, do you think it's a thing? Like, it's going to be the next, Ice Bucket Challenge? Like...
Oh, no, it's not going to go that far.
It should, though. That'd be dope. It's like...
The Ice Bucket Challenge didn't come from a movie.
That's true. So this is a whole different animal. But 45 million people have seen this in 1 week, and it's been, 2.5 weeks now. Like, think about that. This is spreading as fast as that freaking disease in the movie. This is spreading.
This is the apocalypse.
This is the hottest topic right now. Like, this is what
everybody's
talking about at work.
Yeah, that was the post-apocalypse. This is the real apocalypse.
This is pre-apocalyptic. This is, since Adam and Eve, we've been in the pre-apocalyptic time period.
Tupac Shakur.
Tupacalypse. 2-pack of lips. 2 packs of lips.
All right. Okay.
Don't read into that.
So this movie I rated good out of good, great, and bad. Bad, good, and great. It was good.
It's a good scale. Good scale. I would also have to say good out of good, great, and bad. Maybe good 8. Good.
Between good and great?
I'd say so, because there's not many movies I can watch twice. I watched it a couple of nights ago. I just watched it with Xavier here. That'd be a cool idea for a review, and it was a good one, dude. It was a good one. It's
directed by Susan Beers.
Beers, both an I. She's European, not like Beers or anything interesting at all. It's kind of, I mean, nothing interesting. Or Suzanne Beer, Bier, like Bieber.
Yes, not beer as in
her own,
the drink we all love to share.
She misspelled her own last name. Her parents did.
Yeah. What if your last name was Wiener?
Anthony Weiner.
Anthony
Congressman,
Wiener.
very successful man.
You know he got a lot of harsh comments on him when he went to middle school.
He probably had a hard time.
There was no way he didn't.
Had a very hard time growing up.
How many lockers has he seen the back of?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably treated really bad.
And then he redeemed himself by becoming a
dick.
Powerful dick.
I shouldn't have said that, but
a powerful man.
As a child, he was a wiener.
Now he's a full-grown
Yeah.
boner.
Yeah.
Bona fide.
Bona fide.
Bona fide politician.
Yeah. Really respected by nobody. On the
It's definitely his last name.
nobody. He got in a sex scandal.
Oh, Wiener.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, his name's Wiener. He got in a sex scandal. He was selling. He was sending selfies of his wiener to women. But then, like, so that died down. You know, he was still kind of in politics, but But then he sent them to a 15-year-old girl.
Wow. Why?
Yeah. I don't know. His wife was a attractive female.
His last name destroyed his life.
Probably. It probably gave him a complex. Or something.
Yeah.
It probably did. It probably always thinks about how he is his wiener.
He is the wiener.
He's wienered.
My last name's Wiener. I just have to show the world.
But no, it's
How my wiener is.
disturbing.
Poor
Yeah.
guy. I don't feel bad for him.
I don't
Poor
either.
guy.
Yeah. Poor rest of us having to put up with him. Poor us for having to deal with that.
We are
On
the
Earth.
victims here.
I feel victimized already. Never even met the man. I don't like him. I don't even know him. But I probably don't like him.
Yeah, I've never been older than 25.
Neither have I.
But if you're past 35, I know you have to be 35 or older.
And he's married, too.
So an old, wrinkly, married man sending pictures to a 15-year-old with the last name Wiener. Come on.
He's congressman.
Seriously.
Best of the best.
So anyways, back to this movie.
Back to this fantastic Mouvoir.
Starring
Mouvoir review.
Starring Sandra Bullock, the woman of many good movies and whom doesn't age.
No, she actually does not age.
She was born in 1964 and she doesn't look a day over 35. The beautiful Sandra Bullock,
Yes.
who's played in Miss Congeniality, The Blind Side.
Speed 1, Speed 2. Probably more speeds.
The Proposal. I just had to think about it.
The Proposal.
All About Steve. This new movie, All About Steve, was great.
The Blind Side. Did you say that?
Yes,
Okay.
it is also great. And another movie that just came out, Ocean's 8. I haven't seen, but
She's
it's
famous.
an Ocean's movie.
Mm-hmm. And she looks so young that her character is having a child, and her love interest in the movie is 28 years old. Like, the actor's 28, and they look like equals in this movie. It's crazy. Yeah.
And that is Trevante Rhodes, who plays Tom. Mallory and
African
Tom
American
sitting in
man.
a tree.
K-I-S-S-I-N-G. Buy me a Coca-Cola. That was like 5 jinks. And
I owe this man a Coke.
You do. And John Malkovich, in this movie, if you've seen this movie, you'll probably know him as the bald guy. His name is Douglas, according to Wikipedia.
Hey, bald guy. Bald guy. As bald as this microphone we're speaking into, he plays Douglas.
Bald.
Which he's always right, but he's an ass. He's a jerk.
He's
so
a total jerk.
his approach is like, I don't want to listen to you. No, like other people viewing him are like, I don't want to listen to you because your approach, but he's always right.
Yeah, and it sucks because he's right. Like, they would have a prosperous life if they listened to him. But
If he
he's
had a
jerk.
loving approach, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a life lesson there. Starting Steve Jobs, it's like, but
Yeah.
not really.
Sarah Paulson, who plays Jessica. And then there's a few other people. Danielle McDonald, who plays Olympia. Lil Ray Howery, who plays Charlie. And there's
Little
a
Ray.
bunch of more supporting actors and actresses. But anyways,
Yeah, just people, dude. Human beings are in this movie. Most of the people in this movie are human beings.
and don't forget the birds.
The birds, they actually were cast from a zoo.
do you think they got paid?
They probably got paid in food. They probably got fed.
They probably got good food.
I bet they did, like the top of the line.
And they're probably going to,
Yeah, they're just gonna make a lot of food money. Good. That's the cool thing about being an animal. Like, you're not looking
Gold
for
cage.
anything but food.
Yeah, gold cage.
Gold, yeah.
What are we doing with this
Nicolas
money?
Cage. I don't know what we're doing with all this money we have. This wealth we've accumulated.
Yeah, We're sitting
We're
over here.
drenched in wealth.
This
right
is
now.
real silver. This microphone.
Yeah, it actually came from King Tut's tomb, and the museum curator actually gave it to me because I loaned like so much money to Prince William and Queen Elizabeth that they said, "Look, we're just going to give you King Tut's microphone." Yeah, I'm a great man, and also very humble.
So they got a 62% on the tomatoes. What is it? Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't like that website, but I'll take it.
I don't even know
that's
what
a
that
fair.
means.
There's a website called Rotten Tomatoes. They give a lot of reviews that seem bogus to me. There's a lot of good movies that culturally.
Yeah, they said they didn't
are
live
good.
up to their potential.
Yeah, but they say are bad.
So come to us.
It's a bunch of teenagers. We're right here.
Yeah. Because you're watching us and listening to us. And our opinion is more important than the Rotten Tomatoes.
Probably.
Because that's Josh and I'm Xavier.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Which, 67%. Like, yeah.
That's
cool.
a D.
That's a D. Yeah. No, that's an F. Isn't 70 a D?
That's an F.
That's an F.
That's failing.
Yeah.
And also Machine Gun Kelly comes in this movie as well.
Sucks.
But anyways,
Not really. Actually, it's just
the movie is paraphrased: woman disconnected from the world who's pregnant, goes to the doctor, something crazy happens when she gets out. Apocalypse, everyone's killing themselves. She's trying to escape, you know. In the apocalypse, is like a demon in the sky. It is.
Yeah.
It is the light. It is the wind. If you have your eyes open outside, you end up wanting to kill yourself.
Yeah, if you see this, you don't want to. You kill yourself.
Yes.
Like if we were sitting at this table and saw that, we'd just bang our heads until we were dead. It's that instantaneous.
So if the window was open and Josh and I looked outside the window, we would bang our heads against the desk.
Yeah, we'd jump out and we'd like try to break our necks, and if we didn't die on impact, we would just hit our heads until we were dead. It's how it is, and it's crazy. But the even crazier, cool part to this movie, my favorite part of this movie, is that psychopaths will see this phenomenon, but instead of wanting to commit suicide, they want to...
the bad guys.
Mm-hmm, they want to make everyone else see it, because when they see it, they see euphoria. They see, like, heaven. They are so happy, and they're so filled with love, and they're like, come see this, please. No, it's okay.
They're
Open
misleading.
your eyes. But the minute... And they know this, too. In the minute that they make other people open their eyes, they make them commit suicide.
So there's a gaggle of bad people that want you to look at the demon, the light, whatever, and then the light itself. So you gotta stay away from these bad creatures.
And that's the thing. They're the only people not dead. So, like, let's say you and your buddies are hidden somewhere. They're just going to find you. They're roaming the earth trying to find anybody alive to show this to.
And they can also camouflage themselves as a normal being. So as the world is apocalyptic, dying off, everyone's killing themselves, and Mallory, Sandra Bullock, sees a house, goes to it, gets away in there, and it becomes the setting of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
For 3/4 of it. They're in this house, and that's where Trevante Rhodes as Tom, John Malkovich, Douglas, the few other people are in this house originally, the homeowner, and they're just in this house, and it's a safe spot. They block out the windows, and they start living their lives. And remember, Sandra Bullock's pregnant. And the movie starts, and then they run out of materials. They run out of food. So the first thing the adventure that goes on is they try to go to Lil Ray Howery, who plays Charlie. He is a clerk attendant at a grocery store. So he's like, let's go to the grocery store. So they board up the car windows and black them out.
And the car has sensors. It's one of these cars that, like, if you get close to something, it beeps. So it helps them. They drive at a slow speed, and they're able to maneuver past these bodies and past cars that are just in the middle of the road
with the GPS
without using their eyeballs.
in the car.
Yeah.
So they make it to the grocery store, and that's where Charlie dies because he tries to save them because one of these demon people's misleaders, or these demon creatures disguised as human beings, is like, help me, help me, help me, and they try to help him, and Charlie dives and tackles them out of the way and ends up dying, and John Malkovich is like, told you what was going on, you shouldn't have let him in. And that's the story of Douglas's life. He keeps saying, don't let these people in, and then Sandra Bullock's like, Charlie saved us. So she sees the positive and he's the negative, but essentially they should just listen to him.
They should listen to him. He's very wise, and that's what's so unfortunate because he's like, look, especially, I guess we're going to segue now because that scene was over.
And they make it back to the house with food
and did we explain
without
about
Charlie?
And we explained the lady who was pregnant, correct?
She comes in.
So this lady who comes in, she's pregnant. She is not that smart.
After they make it back to the house,
right?
This woman, Danielle McDonald, who plays Olympia, comes to the house, and they're kind of like, don't let her in because of the Charlie incident. I mean, what Charlie did to get this, had to sacrifice his life to get this demon out. So they didn't know if she was a demon or not. So they were skeptical.
And from my memory, I think she was there at the house before they left. Because I remember that scene.
Okay. Before they went to the grocery store.
Because they wanted to go to the grocery store. She was like, I can come too. Everything about her demeanor in this movie, and it was done intentionally, of course. She is to portray someone who is not a deep thinker. Like, it's not that she's dumb, but she is just
ditzy.
not. She's ditzy. That's a perfect way to describe her.
And she's also preggo.
And she's pregnant, and that's why I think they had grace on her to let her in. And so they let her in. They go to the grocery store. Let's touch on that real quick. So they get in the grocery store, and Charlie leads them around. He's like, look, okay, this is here. They're like, where are the electronics? Aisle 7.
They stock up.
And then in the back of the grocery store, there's this guy. His name's Fish Fingers. You know, how people at work just get nicknames, and so that was his nickname. And Charlie says some good comments. He's like, oh yeah, that man, you know, he's a little crazy. You know, he's been in prison, but he's a good dude. You know, and you think, yeah, okay. And so he's knocking on the door for help. Well, it turns out he's one of the zombies. So
zombies, I like that.
It's a good. I mean, this is better than The Walking Dead to me. That's a different topic, but like, this is what's up. And so he's like, oh yeah, that's my bro Charlie. Charlie, it's all cool. And then so they kind of semi let him in, but then Charlie has to go out there and push this man through the door to save his friends, because this man was a psychopath who wanted to open the door and expose the light to everybody. And Charlie luckily saved him. And so that happened, but Charlie died. So then they get back.
Without Charlie.
Rest
in peace. R.I.P. They get back to the house. So there's about 6 people there. Some old ladies also in there, and it's irrelevant. So she's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so they're relaxing, chilling, all cool, you know, shooting some b-ball outside of school, and a couple of guys are up to no good, starting causing trouble in my neighborhood. No,
Is
that
that
was
Prince of Bel-Air? Okay, yeah, I've never seen that show.
Never seen that show.
I know it. I bought the album. I never saw the show.
Interesting.
Or that album that made him famous. But, yeah.
Interesting. So they're all chilling in the house. There's 2 pregnant women.
R.I.P. Uncle Phil, for real. The only father that I ever knew. When I grow up, I want to be a better you. Go ahead.
Okay. Some J. Cole.
Mm-hmm. Just last week I found out that Uncle Phil was from that TV show. I thought, J. Cole had an uncle named Phil who died.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, wow. But then now I know.
Do you think he was portraying Will Smith's perspective in that song? Or
no, he was saying I only had one. I had so few father figures in my life. That man on TV was.
Oh, wow.
That sucks, but it's true.
It's wonderful. not wonderful.
It's
I'm
wonderfully
stupid.
unwonderful.
That was a dumb thing to say, but like
it's all good because it's like it's not wonderful, but it's nice that he at least found some inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Josh. So they're in the house, everyone's just chilling, and then another character tries to come in who he's actually a zombie. One of these bad guys.
Psycho.
And guess who lets her in?
Who lets him in? Who
The
lets him
ditzy Daniel McDonald, who plays Olympia, lets her in. The prego. The second pregnant woman. She lets him in.
Prego.
And he ends up being a bad guy, but Douglas calls it, Yeah. But they're like, screw you, Douglas. Go stay in the garage.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so this is like just the breakdown. So Sandra Bullock immediately grabs the gun when she sees this dude come in. She's like, why do you let him in? And they're all interrogating him and just yelling at him. But then Sandra Bullock's like this, where she lowers her weapon. Everybody's kind of getting at ease. They're listening to a story. They're hearing him out. But then John Malkovich Douglas, he's like, look. He just grabs the gun from Sandra Bullock. He's like, look, screw this, whatever. I don't trust you, bro.
Every time someone interacts with us, we get killed.
It's like every time this happens, we get killed. We're gonna die because of this. And he's like, look, and I guess the house is the Asian man's house, but he's basically like, look, I was here first. I forgot exactly what he said, but he laid his ground. He was like, look, sorry, we have a set number. This is it. And he's like, we're not an orphanage. Get out of here. And basically gunpoint.
Popular opinion, he got to stay.
Yeah, the popular opinion. Actually, the little lady who was irrelevant, she took this pot and broke it over his head.
Douglas.
Knocking Douglas out. So then Douglas is unconscious. They make him sleep in the garage.
Yeah.
So,
garage.
Yeah, and so this freaking psychopath who wants to kill these people has now been let in. Douglas, the only guy who has an eyebrow raised at this character, is unconscious in the garage. And then they have
two
him locked
women
in there.
Before we get to the next scene, backtrack a little bit. Right before they,
spoiler alert.
Right before
by the way.
right, yeah,
nerds.
Right,
will get pissed.
Right before this guy who's a zombie comes in that they don't know is a zombie or whatever these people are. Machine Gun Kelly and this woman that were in the house steal the car.
That's true.
They probably went to the grocery store and did their thing.
That's true because while they're at the grocery store, Doug was like, look, guys, this is kind of a selfish thing to do, but like, let's stay here. And I think that Kelly and his woman went there.
Yeah. Mallory, of course, Sandra Bullock was like, let's go, we got to go back to the house because we're not assholes. That's her words, what she said. But Machine Gun Kelly got to show up, do a little bit of acting in the scene, make a bunch of money, and then have sex with this hot girl in the movie and then leave. They storm out in the middle of the movie. What a wonderful life. But anyways, so they steal the car, the demon guy comes in, and Douglas is knocked out, the bald guy, John Malkovich is knocked out in the garage, and both women at the same time, their water breaks.
Same time.
And the old lady that's kind of irrelevant is helping them upstairs, and the only people downstairs is this demon guy and Tom Trevante Rhodes, who is this awesome, super buff masculine black dude who is quite compelling just to look at. He's a wonderful looking guy. I've never seen him in a movie. I saw that he was in Moonlight, which I never watched, which he might just be relatively new to the acting.
He's 28 years old. I think we said that at the beginning.
Yeah, this is a big movie, I guess.
Big movie, so he's going to be
landed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just
dope guy.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
He's downstairs with the zombie guy, and the zombie guy knocks him out and then goes upstairs and starts downstairs scraping all the windows and stuff off. Like they boarded all the windows, so the light will be inside, and goes upstairs and starts doing it.
Oh, word! But did you talk about the drawings?
Yeah, and he put drawings all on this table.
Yeah, it's an awesome transition scene. Just I want to like talk about this real quick. It's like so he's sitting there. The women are in labor. Chaos is ensuing, and
Douglas John Malkovich is still in the garage,
locked in the freaking garage. And I'm not even sure where Tom is. I think Tom's helping out. He's kind of everywhere.
He's upstairs. He's like the housekeeper. He becomes like the protector.
Yeah.
The decision maker.
Right. Well, Douglas. Yeah, because I guess they overthrew Douglas.
Yeah.
But so anyways, the birds in the cage are there, and to warn everybody, and then
because they sense danger.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and the crazy guy just looks at Douglas while Douglas is trapped in the garage, and he's like, and he puts the birds in the refrigerator.
Yes.
And then he sits down and he opens up this book with all these psychotic drawings. And then he pulls out his pencil, and he starts running against the paper because like he's obviously a psychopath.
Yes.
Listening to classical music, he puts that down, starts uncovering the windows, as Xavier said, and
And then Tom comes back downstairs and he knocks Tom out.
Yeah.
And then goes back upstairs and tries to unveil more windowage, more lighting in there, and tries to kill everybody. And so essentially, the old lady dies first after giving birth, and then Danielle McDonald, who plays Olympia, who has just had her birth as well, she looks at the light and jumps out the window and kills herself.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandra Bullock's holding both kids, and Danielle McDonald, Olympia, told Mallory, Sandra Bullock, to, if she dies, because it was just the end of the world, essentially, so she just had that figure in her head that maybe she would die, to take her kid if she dies. So she has the kid, and he's about to kill Sandra Bullock, Mallory, and Douglas, what happens?
Okay, so basically he's up there. The crazy guy's up there. Sandra Bullock is under the covers trying to keep the babies from the light. And Douglas, I guess he broke out of the garage and he's standing there with the shotgun like, look, let's do this.
No, Douglas gets killed.
No, he does get killed. My bad. Did
But-
you already say that?
But how does...
Because Douglas gets out first. And then, so Douglas gets out.
Yes.
And then the crazy guy pushes him down the stairs because he gets a shot in the shoulder and the crazy guy runs into Douglas because Douglas has to have his eyes closed.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they just...
so Douglas tries to save Sandra Bullock, which he kind of does. He does.
Right.
So he's distracted and goes after Douglas.
Yeah.
And everyone's dead besides Douglas, Tom, Mallory, and this evil guy and the kids. And Tom is still... Trevante Rhodes is still downstairs, knocked out.
Trevante.
Douglas just gets pushed down the stairs by the evil dude. And they get into it. So the evil dude stabs Douglas, John Malkovich, in the chest with scissors.
Yeah. A couple of times. And then the camera pans away. It goes back to Sandra Bullock. And there's a struggle between Tom and the crazy man over who's going to get the shotgun.
Yeah, because he's waking up because he was knocked out. And he's starting to come conscious, and they're laying on the floor because there's 3 men on the floor. Douglas is now dead. John Malkovich, Douglas is dead. The evil guy, and then Tom is starting to wake up.
Right.
And there's a shotgun between Tom and the demon guy.
Right. And so it pans away, and you hear 2 gunshots, and then Tom walks up the stairs and helps Sandra Bullock, checks on everything, and then 5 years later.
Yeah, so they form a love interest, and they're in a different house, which it doesn't show how they got there, does it? They're in a different place, which 5 years later, I guess you just figure out a way to do that.
Right,
You just can't have your eyes open outside, and that's it. So they're at a different place, and she names the kids boy and girl.
Yeah, she, as we spoke about in the beginning,
Or calls them boy and girl, doesn't name them.
Right. The whole time she didn't want to have kids, so she didn't want to have hers, which was the boy. She didn't want to have the girls, which was Olympia's, the woman that was kind of ditzy. But now she's stuck with these 2 kids. She has attachment issues.
The world's ending.
The world's ending, but they touch on the fact that she has these connection issues even before the apocalypse is announced. It's a theme throughout the whole movie. So she names them boy and girl. She calls them that, and as disrespectful and as odd as that sounds, that's what she does.
And what happens is they're starting to get they have a good connection, you know, these 4, Tom, Trevante Rhodes, Mallory, Sandra Bullock, and boy and girl. They have this good connection. They're in the woods, and how they get food is Sandra or Tom, they take a string and go to one of the neighbor houses, and they lay the string so they can follow it back and go get food and then come back. But there's still demon people out there.
Right.
And it comes to a point where they can't leave each other alone anymore, so they go on this venture together. So it would be dumb to just be Sandra and Trevante. So they bring the 2 kids. They all go to this one house, and there's more demon people there. And
because again, they're scouring the earth. They're using all their resources. For them, this is the most euphoric experience you could have, and they want to share it with the entire world.
Yeah,
and
the demons get euphoria in looking at
the psychopaths
at the sun.
Yeah. There are people. They're actually nuts, and that's the reaction they have, which I thought was a cool part as well.
So the night before they all 4 have to go out. The reason why they had to go out is because Sandra went out by herself and actually saw some of these and got away. They didn't see her, but she was like, I heard more demon people, more psychopaths. So that night, they're telling stories, or Tom's telling stories to boy and girl about essentially dream on, you know, and
yeah.
And Mallory, Sandra Bullock, cuts him off short, and they get into like a little feud.
She's becoming like Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get into a feud, like, Tom's like, you gotta let them dream. You gotta tell them this. You gotta.
They deserve to have hope. They deserve to have names. They deserve a mother. They deserve a life.
So that touches her, and they make love. And the next day, they all 4 go to a house and to get resources. And well, that night also they get before they go out, they get a call on the radio.
On the, I guess, walkie-talkie, radio, whatever it is. They get that call, and it's from a man named Rick. That's what he called himself. And, of course, they were skeptical because these
demons,
if you want to call them that, they're psychopaths. Because they are physical people, but, like, they are very deceptive. So they have their guard up. But it's like, look, we're, 2 hours away from y'all, and we could really help you out a lot. You'd have to
float down the river. Follow the river.
There's a place with rapids, they say, that's going to be dangerous, but so they're weighing options, and it's a good segue because they go right from these kids deserve to have a dream. They deserve to look forward to something.
To some hope.
And
Mallory, at this time, is kind of skeptical. She just doesn't believe it.
No.
And Tom's like, let's do it. And then the next day they wake up after making love and all this good story time and her realization.
Family time. Because they're family.
And go to this house, and these psychopaths show up, and Tom makes the decision to tell them to go back to the house that they were staying at, follow the string, and he'll distract them.
Yeah.
And he does such that he has a shotgun, he walks outside with the blindfold, and he uses his senses, shoots them, and then he realizes he can't just use those senses, so he actually takes off his blindfold and sacrifices his life and kills the 4 psychopaths, demon people, kills them. So she has nothing to worry about except what is she going to do now? She doesn't have her mans.
Right. She doesn't have her man and her adult, much less. And she has to take care of these 2 kids. Somehow navigate them through this dangerous journey. Get food for them. Scavenging. So she's going house to house looking for resources, and eventually, she gets in a boat and...
Yeah, so she actually decides to do what Tom was wanting and go down the river, and she does that.
Because life is more than that. It's more than them running from these crazy people.
Yes, and on the radio they said that there's a point where someone's gonna have to guide you down these rapids. The last few meters is these rapids, and so while there's some adventure on the river, it's a 2-day river bend, and just floating down the river. At one point they stop and some controversy happens. The two kids stay in the boat. She goes because they fell in at one point, so she goes to this house and uses her senses and the string again and goes, gets blankets, comes back, and these demons put voices in your head as well. Not the demon people, but the actual thing itself that if you look,
maybe.
Yeah, you look at and it kills you.
Yeah.
And so they're making down, and then they run into a fisherman that's one of these demon people.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, it's okay, open your eyes," and then she's like, "Keep your head down," telling the kids to not look. At all costs, these demons are like, "Hey, open your eyes. It's all good." It's like, "Hey, it's okay. Open your blindfold." It's like, "Hey there."
Don't do it.
And it's could not be worse. And they, so from that point on, they continue to run. They hit this truck in the water. They about die there. The kids are spilled out. Kids get back in the boat. Then they go to this house where they find resources, or trying to find resources. And then that is just, they have the spirit attack them.
Yeah, imagine you can't see. It's just this crazy experience.
Yeah, and the spirit, it seems to know you well. It seems to really attack you. Like, hey, look at me. Except it's really
put voices in your head.
Put voices, even from your parents. People look at it and say mother and stuff, and it's very odd. But so
they make it.
They make it. They get back in the boat. They make it. But probably the best, or one of the best scenes in the movie is they kind of go through again. They kind of retell and do some flashbacks and let you know that Olympia and Mallory spoke to each other about Olympia's daughter, and it's like, look, I'm probably going to die. But if I do die, will you take care of my daughter? And Mallory was like, look, don't even talk about this. She was like, no, you promise me. Right now, you promise me, if I die, you take care of my daughter. So that flashback came, and then she had flashbacks about her own son, which, this is important because you could tell she was weighing the option. Which one of these kids do I have open their eyes to help navigate us? Because we need someone to navigate us to make sure the other two live. And as she weighs her options, she eventually is like, look, it's all of us. We're all going to close our eyes. We're going to try to get through these rapids, these Grand Rapids, and if we can't get through them, we all die. But if we all get through them, we live. But that's the only option. Mm-hmm. We all live or we all die. And that is very
her
deep.
Connecting. She's
connecting.
More so connecting.
Yeah.
So it was a subliminal part of the movie, or a not so forefront, It was a big part of the movie that wasn't really talked about, but it was there.
Right.
Sandra Bullock and her disconnect, and then so they land to the shores, and
it's major.
The demons, the actual, not people, but the sky, the sun, or these voices.
The apparition.
Yeah, the wind.
The spirit. It's called
the spirit, really playing in their heads. And Sandra Bullock, Mallory, falls, and the kid, she falls and rolls down this hill, and the kids are at the top of the hill, but they start hearing the voices themselves, and they split up, and they're about to take off their blindfolds.
Because they think they made it. The voice is like, look, you guys have made it. Take off your blindfold. And then Mallory from the distance is screaming, no, kids, you have not made it yet.
Yeah, she really connects with them at this moment. Yeah. Saying, I was wrong about telling Tom to stop saying the story, because Tom was telling him a story the night before he died.
Right.
And she cut him off short. And you need a mom, you need this. Dream. And they started hearing that voice, and it overpowered the spirits, and they found each other because they were in a forest by themselves, and they just followed the voice to each other, and they make it to the promised land, which was a blind school, just some locked
School
in
for
building.
the blind. Yeah. It's a bunch of blind people that, luckily, a lot of normal people, I guess you would say, people who can see, took refuge there, and it was a great ending.
And they still had the box with the birds.
Mm-hmm. And she ran into the doctor from the beginning of the movie, and the girl or the doctor's like, "Hey, so what are your names?" And the girl says "girl," the boy says "boy." But then in that moment, she names them. She names the daughter Olympia after her true mother, and she names the boy Tom after Trevante Rhodes, who was the black guy who was basically their father.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last scene is
Was their father.
The box with the birds that kind of guided their they would freak out when danger was around, but they opened the box and they agreed to let them go in this safe zone and fly with all the other birds. So
yeah, it was awesome, and they had this courtyard in the middle with this covering, and if the bad spirits come, all these hundreds of birds will go crazy, and it's a way where finally these people can unite and live together. And if there's something that the people with eyes can't do, the blind people who are very intelligent can do it for them.
yeah.
It was a fantastic movie. Fantastic movie.
So what would you suggest this movie?
Would. Highly. I think it's very good.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It was.
For a horror movie, it wasn't scary,
Mm-hmm.
but it had good messaging. This woman was just relentless, and
Mm-hmm.
the sacrifice Tom made there was a lot of good points in this movie. You know, if there's an old bald guy who's an asshole, he's probably always right, and he's probably an asshole because he's always right. No one wants to listen to him.
Right. He's fed up. He's frustrated. But it was a fantastic movie. I'd highly recommend it. What about you? Would you?
Yeah, I would.
I mean, her story alone's awesome. Then you have the whole thing's awesome.
Sandra Bullock's
The grocery store scene, so many good scenes. So let's go from 1 to 10. Like we said at the
7.
beginning, 7.
Yeah.
Because Rotten Tomatoes said 62. IMDb said 67. I'd say like 77, 78-ish. It was, to me, it was up there. Now, like, the best movies I've seen, I'd put in the high 90s. And if that's the case, I would put this probably there.
Cool.
Yeah. I loved it. Look, thanks for watching. For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, subscribe to our channel here. We're new, just doing movie reviews. So subscribe, like it if you want to. And we have a podcast. The link will be on our channel. We're going to revamp some stuff. So appreciate it.
Love you.